Have you ever felt like the ground is just completely shifting under your feet when it comes to work? You're not alone. The career paths our parents took, that idea of a stable, lifelong job, it almost feels like a story from another time. So today we're going to pull apart the massive shifts that have totally reshaped our professional lives, and then look at how we can weave a new path to success in this new world. Let's get into it.
All right, here's how we're going to break it all down. We'll start by looking at that old social contract at work. Then we'll dive into the three huge forces that just blew it all up. After that, we'll see what the new workplace actually looks like, how to adapt, and finally, what this all means for your career.
You know, to really grasp just how much has changed, we have to go back in time. We need to understand the world that was, an era that was defined by one key thing: stability.
Now, at its core, any workplace is an organization. That's just a fancy way of saying it's a group of people working together to get something done. That basic definition hasn't changed, but the relationship between those people and the organization? Oh, that has been turned completely upside down.
And this right here, this was the heart of the old world. It's what we call the psychological contract. Think of it like an unwritten handshake deal. It was simple. You give a company your loyalty, you work hard, and in return, they give you a job for life. Everything was built on that foundation of predictability.
But of course, that world of stability just didn't last. Starting around the end of the 20th century, three incredibly powerful global forces started pulling at the threads of that old contract, and pretty soon, the whole thing started to unravel. The first of these game-changing forces was globalization. All of a sudden, your competition wasn't just the company across town. The entire planet became the marketplace, the talent pool, and the competition.
And the impact was huge. Competition for jobs went global. We saw this workforce flux with more and more contract and temporary roles, and it meant that just being technically good at your job wasn't enough anymore. You had to have cross-cultural skills to really succeed in this new, interconnected world.
The second force, which was really working hand in hand with globalization, was the absolute explosion in technology. And this wasn't just about getting new tools, it fundamentally changed how, where, and even when work could get done.
Think about it. The internet, mobile phones, tech became ubiquitous. It was everywhere. It literally broke down the walls of the physical office, paving the way for remote and hybrid work. And this kicked off a process of creative destruction. Some jobs disappeared, sure, but entirely new, often higher-skilled jobs were created, and the pace of change just kept getting faster.
Okay, so the third and final force isn't something external like markets or machines. It's internal. It's us. The actual makeup of the workforce started to change in some really profound ways.
First, just look at this number: 52%. For generations, management was a male-dominated world. Today, women hold the majority of all managerial and professional jobs in the U.S. That is a fundamental rebalancing of the entire workplace.
And when we look to the future, the workforce is set to become even more diverse. Projections show the Hispanic population in the U.S. is expected to grow by a massive 60% by 2050, which is creating this incredibly rich multicultural talent pool.
And then there's this. For the first time in history, we have count 'em, five distinct generations working alongside each other, each one with totally different experiences, expectations, and ways of working.
So what happens when you take these three massive forces, globalization, technology, and demographics, and you just throw them at that old, stable world of work? Well, the result is a completely new reality, one with a whole new set of rules.
This slide right here is the absolute heart of it. That old psychological contract, it's gone. Stability has been replaced by constant uncertainty. The company acting like a parent, that's been replaced by self-reliance. And that idea of lifelong loyalty to one company, well, now mobility is the norm.
And this completely changes how we think about security. The goal isn't job security anymore, the idea of keeping this one job forever. The new goal is employment security. That means having skills that are so valuable and so portable that you can always find good work, anywhere. The focus shifts from the company to you, the individual.
Okay, so if the old world is gone, what's the new playbook? How are we supposed to actually succeed, let alone thrive in this environment of constant change?
Well, a big part of the adaptation starts with managers. The old-school command and control boss is basically a relic. The new manager is more like a coach than a cop. Their job is to communicate a vision, manage based on results, not on who's at their desk, and to intentionally build connections for teams that might be spread all over the place.
But this new world, it definitely has a dark side. With technology blurring the lines between work and home, we've created this always-on culture. And because of that, employee well-being and mental health have shot to the top of the priority list. It's no longer just a personal issue, it's a critical business responsibility.
And the best organizations are tackling this head-on with a four-part strategy. It all starts with awareness, just breaking down the stigma. Then comes accommodations, things like flexible schedules. Next is assistance, providing tools like stress management. And finally, and this is key, access, making sure people can actually easily use the support that's available to them. So, after all this disruption, this unraveling and reweaving, what does it all boil down to for you? How do you actually navigate this new world and build a career that's both successful and fulfilling?
This is basically your toolkit for the future. The number one rule is self-reliance and a commitment to always be learning. Your goal is that employment security, which you build through valuable skills and the resilience to bounce back from setbacks. And prioritizing your own well-being isn't a luxury anymore. It's a core career asset. At the end of the day, you have to see yourself as a free agent in a dynamic market. You are the CEO of your own career.
And that really brings us to the final and maybe most important point. Einstein said this after another world-changing event, and it's so true here. The technology, the markets, adapting to those things is one thing. But the biggest challenge we all face in this new world of work isn't the external changes. It's changing our own thinking. It's about letting go of that old idea of stability and truly embracing a future that is dynamic, constantly changing, and ultimately full of opportunity. The real question is, are we ready to think differently?